All right, everyone, this is your host, Paul Gaither. This is my Xbox 360 dashboard, and it is nearing 5 p.m. on the 4th of January 2024. I hope you're having a wonderful start to your new year. I'm coming at you unscripted, mostly unedited. I might edit through simulating some aspects, but if I remember correctly, I've actually loaded up and set things up for you in advance. We're going to talk about Madden 12, and really we're going to try to focus on Madden 25 as well, both jumping back and forth if we can in this video. Let's go in here. Let's check out the intro video and have some good time.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
Solid. Probably going to get a copyright notification for having that song there. Real life football, animations, stylistic choices. Little sneak peek at the intros that they have in the game. No actual gameplay really right now. Little NFL, no talking, nothing to hype you up with words, which is a little disappointing. And then obviously we've got Aaron Rodgers here, and it's a good little transition as you click and you load up and you see the rest of the play finish out. Madden 12 featuring number 12 here. That's who they most likely wanted to win the cover voting. But the internet did what the internet's gonna do, and they voted for Peyton Hillis. Cover boy Peyton Hillis. But we've got the true cover boy that you know EA wanted, was expecting, is Aaron Rodgers here. And there the play finishes up. Oh wow, you got Patrick Willis right here. Earlier it was, and many times it is Aaron Rodgers up there. So the first thing we got to do is we got to watch what Josh Lumen has to say about franchise mode. So let me do what I can to crank up the volume the best I can on my pickup, but I'm going to warn you, like, you're going to probably need to turn it up. So let me just lower my voice here, and I'm going to go on mute as we go click play for what is new in franchise. You can turn the volume up now.
Franchise mode is back in Madden NFL 12, and it's bigger and better than ever. We've added over 25 major features and improvements to our most popular game mode, and the majority of those additions have been requested by you, the fans. The biggest addition is dynamic player performance, powered by confidence and consistency. These two new traits will ensure that you'll never have the same experience twice when playing a franchise mode game. Every week, each player's ratings will change based on how consistent they are and their level of confidence coming off of their last game. If your franchise quarterback is extremely consistent, their ratings will change slightly. With guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, you always know what you're going to get when they step on the field. With someone who is less consistent, you never know what you'll get. He could play better or worse than you expect him to any given Sunday. The players that perform at a high or low level for consecutive weeks are on a hot or a cold streak. You'll see an icon next to their name in the player management screen that tells you when this happens. Cut days featuring expanded rosters is a feature you've asked for years, and it's new in Madden NFL 12. Take 75 players into your first preseason game, then cut down each week as you try to learn a little more about the guys you've invited to camp. Off-season free agency is a much more fast-paced and interactive feature this year with a new free agent bidding mechanic. Square off against the other NFL teams as you try to outbid each other for the right to sign the best free agents. Be aggressive when you're bidding, or you might just lose that player that you need to turn your franchise around. Player roles are back in Madden NFL 12 for the first time in years, and they add a deep RPG element to the franchise experience. There are over 20 new roles that can be earned or lost by players every offseason, and most of them have an impact on the field in your franchise games. So that's just the tip of the iceberg. The rest of the new features range from being able to practice in franchise mode to a fully functioning injured reserve. From future draft picks to the ability to change teams in the offseason. We've even got a new scouting system. So we've added a ton of new features this year, and we really hope you guys enjoy playing franchise mode in Madden NFL 12.
All right, so this is where you want to turn your volume back down. I'm going to go back to full volume here. Just think about my wonderful audience and you're not getting blasted with sound here. So let's go. Okay, so yeah, if for some reason it's so quiet, even when I go to my settings and crank up the volume all the way, it's just really quiet. That was Josh Lewin himself introducing so much about the mode. Says a lot in a short amount of time, which is a lot better than I seem to be able to do. Let's talk about something here. Let's go to rosters. No, let's go to, file management, rosters, whatever, player management. I need to look for, like, roster updates or whatever, because I use, like, a customized one. I customize for multiple reasons. So, like, this is an edited, adjusted. I think many of you would like it. But one of the things here, let's go to, yeah, he's still in the game. Okay, he's not one that I edited quite all the way. Yeah, no, this is a different roster setup. I've got different rosters, and I'm not going to mess with it too much. The point is that I want to jump ahead, and I got myself a little distracted here. Remember, I'm not on script. I'm not going to edit it up too much. Is what we have here is we go to, no, not edit player. Let's go left thumbstick, click player details. Look, we have player traits, not talked about in the video. Brand new to Madden 12, also Madden 25. I believe they're all the way in even to the most current Madden. So you probably know what they are, but they're a big deal. And to me, there are two huge differences between PS2 Madden and Xbox 360 Madden. Okay, so one thing is that, and I harp on this time and time again, so if you've heard me say it and say it again, I'm sorry, but I got it. PS2 Madden is all about physical ratings. Speed, acceleration, agility, strength, jump, like things like that. Physical ratings. And they still exist in the game, right? But there are very limited, like, positional traits. Okay? Quarterback's got throwing power, throwing accuracy. That's it. Wide receivers got catch. That's it. You know, running backs have break tackle. That's it. Right? Offensive line got pass block, run block. That's it. And defense has tackle. That's it. That's all they got. Okay? So what determines everything else? Awareness. Okay? High awareness, low awareness, thresholds, like awareness check. That's it. So what's different on, I think Madden 08 started it, more or less, is what did they do? What did they change? What did they improve? Okay? So there's all kinds of ratings here. I'm sure you know what they are. You've seen them before. But beyond just tackle, you also got hit power. Like, is a guy a big hitter? Does he lay the wood? Right? Does he go for a big hit? And how successful is that hit stick? Right? So you got some guys, 85 tackle, but 55 hit power. Doesn't lay the wood as much. You can disagree with that, whether he does or doesn't, but it's there. But here's the thing. For the defensive line, we got power moves, we got finesse moves, we got block shedding. Okay? So I'm going to go here and show you one of the most famous things around. Robert Mathis. 98 finesse moves. Sub 70 power moves, sub 70 block shedding. Right in Dwight Freeney. 97 finesse move, sub 70 block shedding, and technically just over 70 in power moves. Okay? So when it comes to Dwight Freeney and Robert Mathis, they're going to come off the edge, they're going to spin move you, they're going to swim you, they're going to finesse move you, and they're going to bust your tackles up. Okay? So how are you going to differentiate that? A couple of players who are not known for being monsters in the run game, guys who are more known for getting pushed around in the run game, on a defense that's primarily built to be front runners, and I don't mean that as an insult to the Colts, but like there's double meanings for front runners, right? No, we don't mean like the pretenders. We mean it's like this is a team that's built to get out ahead with Peyton Manning and his targets. Excuse me, and having the defense come on out pin their ears back, as the expression goes, and get after the passer. Because the opposing team is most likely not going to be able to come back by just running the ball. But they're going to have to drop back and pass. And that's where Dwight Freeney, Robert Mathis come after you, and they collapse, like not collapse the pocket, but they like get around the edge. It's the defensive tackles that could collapse the pocket. And you can see like 80 power move, but not a lot right here. So they don't really crunch the pocket as much as they would like, which is a whole other issue. But look at these like block shedding. Like 80 block shed is like their best guy. And then 70s and 60s and all of that, like they're going to get shoved around. Right? They're not going to get off those blocks. And the guys are going to get the second level. So if you can run with the Colts, if you can grind it on them, then you can beat up their defense and you can stay in the football game. Right? You've got to be able to exchange scores and you've got to be able to run the ball effectively against these guys. But if you find yourself falling down, like punting and not trading points, and Manning starts getting, 14, 21 on you, you're down by 2-3 possessions, and you're pressing, they're going to pin their ears back and they're going to beat you by 40. Because they're going to come get you. Okay? So how do we differentiate that between Justin Smith? Justin Smith is not going to spin move you. It's not going to happen. What is he going to do? He's going to bull rush you. He's going to power you. He's going to rip move you. Okay? He's going to power move you. 95 power moves and 96 block shedding. He's going to split double teams. He's going to get off individual blocks. Like, he's going to get after you physically in the run game. Left in, McDonald. Okay? Ray-Mac, sub 90, but he's close. He's on the verge of becoming elite, but you got to be able to progress him. He's got to be able to progress. He's sub 90 power moves, but he's up there. And he's 80-plus block shedding, and he's even higher in Madden 25. So, he's going to fight you on the ends, right? But as a 3-4 defense, so really kind of like defensive tackles. But he's not going to edge rush you, right? And at defensive tackle, like, you're not going to get big pushes, like elite bull rushes from Soap, from Jean-Francois, and from Ian Williams. You're just not going to get that power move elite stuff. But you're going to get 93 block shedding, right? You're going to have to deal with Justin Smith. You're going to have to deal with Soap. And to a lesser extent, but still true, you're going to have to deal with Ray-Mac up front. Jean-Francois and Ian Williams are still going to bring that middle of the road. Like 90 plus is elite, and the 80s is good, right? So you're going to have to bring your A game against this defensive line. And then you got your linebackers, right? 87 block shedding. That's going up against tackles and tight ends, right? And 91 power moves, like a pass rusher and a 2-4 nickel, right? Right outside linebacker, Alden Smith. He's also got that 99 power moves. Dude, he was putting guys on their back like Reggie White was putting guys on their back as a rookie. Go watch his rookie year. It was incredible. And this was like at the end of the year roster update. They gave him 99. Okay? 96 block shedding. Like the 3-4 defense is basically like a 5-2, right? It's like 3 defensive tackles with your outside linebackers basically playing as ends. And then your 2 other linebackers off the ball. It's like a 5-2. It's like a fancy 5-2 where the ends might drop off into coverage, right? But that's the thing. Like, we got some finesse moves. We got some finesse moves. But it's Paris Harrelson that's got, like, more of the finesse move right here. Like, he is a passing down kind of guy, which is interesting because in real life, he was the starter. And then Alden Smith was brought in on passing downs just to rush the passer and get experience. And then he earned a starting job as his career and his season developed. But Harrelson here, like, he would go after it, those second and whatevers, And he's not, like, a liability in the run game, but this isn't about that. It's just, like, you see this idea, and it has to do with team building, okay? So that's so important between PS2 Madden and Xbox 360 Madden, is these ideas, right? That's just defensive line, okay? And outside linebackers, 3-4, whatever. You get the idea, right? You can have like an on-ball, like 4-3 over, 4-3 under with an outside linebacker on the ball against the edge. Like, there's all kinds of ideas, but you get that point, right? But then instead of just awareness, they got play recognition. So play recognition has multiple purposes, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But it's a stat instead of just relying on awareness to run everything, right? You got man coverage, you got zone coverage, you got press. Now, it's not just for corners. I mean, because linebackers are going to press tight ends at the line and things like that too. But think about the secondary. Man coverage, zone coverage, press. Like, that's secondary skill. You call a man play. Let's say we call cover 5. 2 deep, 5 under, right? That means your safeties are going to be using their zone rating, right? And your corners are going to be using their man ratings. Okay? Now, you got a guy like Carlos Rogers here who went to the Pro Bowl, and he's got like really high skills. 89, 94, 93, like he can do a lot. Does that mean he's elite? He's like 90. He's good. He made the Pro Bowl, and then he falls off, and at that age, it's like understood. But you get the point. It's not just your physical ratings, like how fast you are, agility, acceleration, whatever. And then, let me scroll over here. Like press was just your strength versus the wide receiver strength and your awareness checks for the release. Because wide receivers got a release rating to compare against a press rating. Wide receivers have a route running rating to compare against man coverage. Right? Let's go to wide receivers. Let's scroll over. Right? Juke, move, catch, carry, all that. Yeah, right here. Route running. Okay? RLS, release. This is measured against their press rating. This is measured against the route running rating. So what measures against zone? Nothing measures against zone. We're going to talk about that in just a second here. Okay? We're going to talk about that. You got regular catch, but these games got more. They got catch in traffic. They got spectacular catch. They got 3 different catch ratings, and there's a reason for it. Okay? So here's everything that was both like told to me, and we figured out through testing, and was later revealed when Madden, I think 20 or Madden 19, whatever, was on the PC, and they opened up the code and they talked about it, is man coverage has 2 functions. It's measured against route running, so when there are like moves and double moves, how much reaction time there is to get burned on the play or to lock it up to even jump the route because you know it's coming. Okay? So man coverage versus route running. But also, if the ball is contested, like your guy's running stride for stride with the receiver, whatever, and the ball's being thrown, if your guy goes up to catch it, regardless of the catch rating, whatever, his ability to hold on to it while it's being contested is the catch and traffic rating. So here in this case, Ted Ginn, like if he's wide open, he may or may not catch it because look at that catch rating is sub 70. But if he's being contested, he's most likely not going to hang on to the ball. Where Crabtree is more likely, but not elite, to hang on to the ball, right? So you got to throw to your guys more open in general. That's what you want to do in football anyway, right? Throw to the open guy. But it's like you can't rely on anyone but maybe Crabtree, and he's not elite here, to hang on to that pass when it's contested against man coverage. Okay? The spectacular catch is just firing off a spec catch animation, which is a whole other thing. And I don't know exactly how it's calculated. I'm not going to get into it too much. Though we can talk about the sliders of catching and some other aspects as well. The fact of the matter is press versus release, route running versus man coverage, catch in traffic is also measured against the man coverage rating of a guy if they're in man trying to break up the pass. I said if man, because that's what's going on with zone here. Okay? When you look at zone coverage, if you're oftentimes it's safeties, you're in zone and there's the defender trying to break up the ball, the catch in traffic is going to measure against the zone coverage rating for the chance of breaking it up. So here, Dante Whitner, not really going to break up too many passes. Goldson at 82 in the next level, like 90 to 99, 80 to 89, 79 and below. It's like basically elite, good, and not good, right? I don't mean bad, but like just like 80 to 89 is the good range, right? And 90 to 99 is the elite range. So you get different animations, different likelihood chances, super wins, all that. So you might think, okay, Paul, but just zone coverage, like, and this is a question I used to have. Is zone coverage something where, like, they drop back to the right spot in the zone? How they pass off one guy to another? How if you've got, like, a levels combination where, like, the tight end is high and the receiver comes over, or, like, a drag on a drive technique? So there's, like, drive and there's levels, all that. Is, like, how well does the defense drop back into zone, pass off the right guy to the right defender, and then come up and move on to the next guy that comes in their zone or whatever? Like, how is that determined? It's not zone coverage, yo. It's not zone coverage. It was revealed. It was play recognition. How well they play their zone is not based on zone coverage. Now, I don't know if that's true in Madden 24 or not, because maybe there was, like, people upset about that, and maybe they switched, like, the rating to check with. But, like, Madden 19, Madden 20, whatever, all the way backwards to, like, Madden 8 is play recognition. How well they play their zone is play recognition. We can disagree with it, but that's the truth. That's the reality. So if they got high play rec, like 90 plus play rec, they're going to cover their zones more correctly, more properly than if they were at a lower rating. And there's also other slider factors you got to deal with. But just passing off and covering the play. And the thing is, what EA said, we kind of knew it, and it was officially confirmed later, is play recognition is supposed to be like how well that they do, like, pattern matching and all of that, if they know the routes that are being run. Okay? So how well do they recognize the play? What combination is coming at them? And how well do they play their zones according to the play that they recognize? So play recognition is almost as powerful as awareness used to be, but not as powerful, because awareness was like everything. It was pass rushing, it was block shedding, it was everything. Now, it's basically play recognition is, do they read the draw? Do they read that it's play action versus like a regular handoff? Do they read the counter? Do they read the screen? Okay? Do they read the route combinations in the zone? So it's still a lot. It's still super powerful. Play recognition is still the, like, football knowledge, the football IQ. My understanding is that awareness is like a stat that exists that gives you like a plus or minus, like a boost with all your die rolls, like just in general. So like here, this guy with like 45 awareness is like not going to be helped out. Where still sub 80 is not going to be helped out that much. I think the game doesn't see a difference between 45 and 79 awareness. That's my understanding. There might be some more thresholds in there that maybe are more fine-tuned, but my general understanding is you need to be 80 to 89 for good results, and you need to be 90 to 99 for elite results. And then the next thing, you might have already thought of this earlier, you might have been typing it, you might be thinking now, it's like, but Paul, what's the difference, between 90 and 99? Well, that's what we were listening to Josh Lumen about, consistency and player adjustments. It's like, look, we can talk about it's not fair. We should say that it should be like a dial. It goes up to 11, right? Like a volume control. Like it's a dial. And 99 is 99, 98 is 98, 92 is 92, 87 is 87, right? Like, yeah, I get it. I understand. I don't code the game. I can't recode the game for you. I can't mod the game for you. What I can tell you is everything I understand it, that has been explained to me, that I've read it, that I've seen it in action. And it's basically this. Here with Deshaun Goldson at 77, it's like he's really close to hitting that 80 range. He's on the verge. He's on the cusp of hitting that 80 threshold of being good. And at the reverse side, when we talk about hot streaks and cold streaks and consistency, is he might get like a hot streak and go to like 80, 81. So he'll play like better than the 77 rating. But most of the time, he's going to be sub 7 or sub 80. And when he gets on a cold streak, he's going to drop, right? So what does that mean? Like, if you got a guy who's like 90 something, like, okay, here we go, pursuit. Like, if he's going to drop on a cold streak like 4 points, he's going to drop out of the good rating to the not good rating, the sub 80. If you're like 92, 91 in an ability, you can be elite. On a hot streak, you stay elite. But if you're like 91, 92, you're in danger of not being elite all the time, right? Because these are humans out here. There ain't no one a machine. So if you're like 91, 92, 93 ability and you like hit a cold streak and you're like -3, -4 in your ability score because of the dynamic player performance and all of that, then your player is in danger of like not playing at the elite level that they're normally capable of, not playing up to their full potential. Whereas someone who's got like 97 ability, if he loses 4, he's still going to be like a 93. He's going to go from being elite to still being elite, right? So having a high ability keeps you in that zone. So you see some of these like 89s, and you're like, bro, if he's on fire, he might even play like a 91, 92. Like he might actually get those elite animations. But even if he gets on a cold streak, because he's like 87, 88, 89, even if he gets on a cold streak, he's not going to drop to like the 70s. He's not going to play bad. He's just going to stay good. Does that make sense? I hope so. I don't want to like repeat myself for talking circles. But there's dynamic player performance like that, consistency, confidence, the ratings themselves, and they have position-specific ratings. So I guess something that I don't think I said, but and I don't think it has to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway, is if you're in zone coverage and the ball is contested catching traffic, it is going to check that zone coverage rating. But how they cover the route combinations and how they drop into their zone is play recognition. Okay? Now, pursuit, my understanding is this has to do with closing speed and choosing the correct pursuit angle. Because Madden does, and also like NCAA on the original Xbox and the PS2, had pursuit problems, like taking bad angles. And my understanding is it's still like one of those dice rolls, right? Like, there's a chance here with Goldson, if he's on a cold streak, he may not take the best pursuit angles, right? He might dip like 3 or 4 points into like 79, 78, or whatever, right? He might dip out of good pursuit angles into not so good pursuit angles and be a liability in pursuit. But I believe it also has something to do with like closing speed. I know it's like unfair, but one of the things that they talk about is high pursuit is almost like the game has this like weird suction animation where they like super catch up to, like they find this like superhuman boost, and it's unfortunate that we can't get rid of. But when I watch like Bowman and Willis, it's like if they're close to the runner, they like suction tackle into these guys, which I'm exaggerating a little bit, but you'll see it when you play. Like Grant here or whatever, like isn't gonna do it. Where Gooden, like if he's on a hot streak, he'll do it. Like he's capable of it. Here I gotta plug in my battery to my laptop here. That's what that noise was. All right, we good. So pursuit, it's like the angle you take and your like catch-up speed. It's kind of messed up because like speed should be speed. It's like I don't like it, but that's just the way the reality we live in. It's like the little catch-up ness of it all, which I think also has to do with like when quarterbacks are scrambling. If you got like Michael Vick trying to escape the pocket and there's like a defensive end with high pursuit, why it's really hard to get away from him is because the pursuit rating just like makes him like suction into you to tackle you. So I know like it stinks, but that's just like the world we live in with this game. So we talk about these ratings: this hit power, hit tackle, power moves, finesse moves, block shedding, play recognition. Like all these ratings don't exist in the previous games. Now we get pass block and run block; those are supposed to be for sim games for the offensive line, right? And impact block is like when you're running into a defender, like the play's already started, so like a fullback blocking a pulling guard, you get off of a block and you go to the next level or whatever. If you're on a screenplay, whatever. If it's not just like the defense and offensive line like directly engaging, if there's a blitzer coming at you, like blitz pickup, that kind of stuff, it's a chance of like pancaking, right? So these are like guys who like, are they going to pancake the dude in front of them? And it's like Staley's a 90. Like, he needs to have like the perfect game or be on fire to definitely hit that elite pancaking animation. Like, he's capable of it, but if he just has that consistency a little low or that confidence a little low or whatever, and he drops out of 90 just to 89 or whatever, he's not going to get that elite animation, right? And the same thing with his pass block. Like, if he gets on fire, he can be elite. If he's not on fire, like, he can play very good, right? That's the point we talked about. That's impact blocking. Something I'm told that they got rid of. Like, yeah, here we go. I'm told, I don't know, was it Madden 25 or Madden 16? Like, I kind of think it was Madden 25 they stopped doing it. Because I kind of see it, like, it doesn't matter. But it does matter in Madden 12. It's run blocking strength, run blocking footwork, pass blocking strength, pass blocking footwork. So my understanding is run blocking strength is the push they get when engaging in a block. And run blocking footwork is what's being measured against block shedding to sustain the block. So they may or may not shove the guy backwards. And if they do shove him backwards, is it a super win? Is it whatever? Do they even push him on their back? Do they drive him backwards? Whatever. But how well do they sustain their block is footwork. My understanding is pass blocking strength is measured against power moves, and pass blocking footwork is measured against finesse moves. Not sustaining blocks, but against those moves. So, you got a lot of defensive ends with high, like, finesse moves, like a lot. And so Joe Staley, according to this rating, can, like, hold his own against these guys, which he did for most of his career. Now, he has a famous moment where DeMarcus Ware, like, spins him like a top, and he looks foolish. But Joe Staley, look, personally, I think Joe Staley should have a gold jacket myself. I know I'm biased as a 49er fan, but this dude was elite. And even in Madden, they gave him, like, elite ratings. And funny guy. Great personality, great player. Fantastic dude. And that one play where DeMarcus Ware spins him like a top, it's like DeMarcus was not spinning him all game. It was one play in a game made him look bad. But the dude was just consistent as consistent can be. And that's what you got. And then you got Opati here, who is like 98 run blocking strength. Like, he will drive you. But he may or may not hold that block for an elite level, right? He'll hold that block against a Dwight Freeney or something against other guys. But if a guy's like 80 versus 89, block shedding versus his footwork, like, it may or may not maintain that block, right? And then if you've got a defensive tackle with finesse moves, you're going to chew him up, right? But if you've got power moves, like, it may or may not be able to deal with it, right? And then it's like over here, it's like the same thing. Snyder, like, if you got those defensive tackles with, finesse moves, you're going to get chewed up, right? With a pass blocking strength, he may or may not be able to hold up against that, but he's going to run on you all day. He's going to drive you all day. Now, how long he holds it, I don't know, but he'll drive on you, right? That's the thing. So even the offensive line got these abilities. Kicking is just like kicking, power return. What does kick return do? I do not know. I don't know if it has to do with, like, the ball carrier vision. I don't think it does. I don't know what kick return possibly has to do, or if it's just a rating for helping the computer choose who goes on a depth chart. But that was a thing, right? Then we'd want to talk about what other abilities. We talked about route running, catch and traffic, spectacular catch, release. We got physical ratings. Juke move whenever you choose to juke with the football, right? Spin move, when you press the spin, how effective your spin move is, like the chances of juking them out of their shoes, which I think may be measured against pursuit. I'm not 100% sure what it measures against, or if it's just a raw dice roll. But the effectiveness of the jukes, of the spins, of a stiff arm, right? Ball carrier vision is basically supposed to be the replacement for awareness, right? For the runner, right? But that's supposed to be the difference between, let's say, like, route running and ball carrier vision. So that way you don't have Frank Gore with, like, 96 awareness so he can run routes like a wide receiver. Like, no. They give him 96 ball carrier vision, which means he doesn't necessarily have to have 96 route running. Does that make sense? It's like, what's the difference? That's the difference, right? That's the difference with the PS2, right? Would you give Frank Gore 96 route running or not, right? So this way you can separate those ideas. You can say, hey, when the ball is in his hands, he's got great vision, but he's not going to like line up in the slot and like start cutting up corners, okay? So you need to know that. Like that's a part of the point. It's like detaching awareness. I believe awareness is just a generic boost you get. Trucking is that, right thumbstick, the truck stick, right? So you stiff arm, you spin move, you juke move, you truck stick, like the effectiveness of the different moves, whatever you try to pull off. Elusiveness, I think, is the closest thing to the generic break tackle, because guys with a higher elusiveness, I don't even have to throw a move on. Maybe it's just the AI doing it, but me, if I'm just running, their chance of just slipping a tackle in general. I think this is just rated against the base tackle rating. I'm not 100% sure what it is for, but that's my understanding. This is just their ability to just slip by guys, slip through arm tackles, right? That's my understanding. And you've got the regular abilities. So all of that, we go again back to player traits. So I'm sure you know them if you play modern Madden. But here's the thing. Fights for extra yards, covers the ball, makes sideline catches, drops open passes. Are they clutch? Consistency and confidence, right? Like how much do their ratings change on a hot and cold streak and from game to game? And like how susceptible are they to rating shifts? If they have a high consistency, they pretty much stay with their ratings, as Josh Lumen said. If they've got a low consistency, they're liable to fluctuate a lot. And that means they probably will get like a nice boost when they're on a hot streak, and they'll get a nice size reduction if they're on a cold streak. And they may or may not get ratings adjustments even if they're at neutral confidence. And the confidence just adjusts to the hot and cold, and then it always resets to 3. So that's my understanding. Unless a player has their confidence set to a low number, I believe most, if not all, players are just default 3. I don't know, maybe you're going to have like a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning who might be 4 or 5, but I don't think so. I think everyone is default 3 and resets to 3. Even the code, I think, it just resets it to 3. And high motor. We're going to talk about some of these traits. We're going to look at the other traits of other positions as well. My understanding from Josh Lumen and from many other sources is this only matters for defensive linemen, linebackers, whatever, who get knocked down like on a pancake. And do they get back up? Like, do they fight to get back up and keep with the play or not? If it has another effect, I don't know. Like, but that's the way it was explained. They used the example of Albert Hainsworth getting knocked down and him just laying on the ground. And players do that. Like, players will just get knocked down and they'll just give up on a play, right? But I don't think it has a gameplay impact on anything other than defensive players. I don't know if it has an impact. Like, let's say Frank Gore tries for a cut block. How quickly does he get up and go after it? I don't know. Maybe it does. For storytelling reasons, I think it's fun to like imagine that it matters. But on the gameplay, I don't think it does. Some of these are self-explanatory. Does he drop open passes? Because there are receivers who will do that. Receivers who like usually have sure hands, and it's like if they're wide open and they're just thinking about their next move, and they just get the dropsies, right? So guys will get tagged with that. Makes sideline catches, like those tiptoe tapping catches. That should be obvious too, but there's a problem. It's like the tiptoe toe drag is nice, but there's a problem in Madden where it's like if they're marked as no, they have a good chance of like literally just stepping out of bounds, even if they're like not even on the edge of the sideline. Like just being somewhere near it, they'll just take large, wide gate, lunging steps and just step out of bounds and not even try to stay in bounds. And that's unfortunate. That's why I like to mess with the catch rating. Not catch rating, but like the catch slider. It's like 60, 65, 70, 75, somewhere in that range. It's like I know for a fact, like if you do like 75 and above, like everyone starts like spectacular catching. It's kind of ridiculous. But I don't know, backing it down to 70, 65, whatever, is you start getting like normal NFL sideline catches without having everyone be a spectacular catch, sideline, tiptoe, like drag, crazy nonsense, right? It's There's a balance in there, but you have to mess with sliders to get there. Covers the ball, embraces like versus like getting hit stick and putting the ball on the ground, fumbling and all that. Fights for extra yards. That's another thing where it's just like you're just as a user just running with the stick, and the computer will just like try to get those extra yards without you having to do extra input, right? And or if you're just like playing AI and the AI is controlling it, you're playing against Franco or whatever, like they'll do whatever it takes to fight for those extra yards. They'll put those extra inputs in. Versus other guys, maybe he'll just go down easy. Okay? And so you get that across the board of like all these different players. Tuck and run, throw the ball away since pressure forces passes, tight spiral versus throwing ducks or whatever. Right? Like you get this. So to me, that's important. Now, we talked about defensive line. That's why I want to get back over here. Big hitter. Like, does he even go for the hit stick, yes or no? Does he utilize the swim move, the spin move, the bull rush move? They don't show the rip move. Okay? So, utilize the spin move. If we go and look at Dwight Freeney, let's go back to the Colts. Okay? We got Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney. Right? Utilizes the spin move, utilizes the swim move. I think swim counts as a finesse move. I think rip counts as a bull rush, not a bull rush, but a power move. So my understanding is they basically have two of each. They got the rip, they've got the swim, they've got the spin, they got the bull rush, like two of each. And you also see like the hand slap. Like they go to slap hands down. Sometimes maybe they like try to rip under. No, there's the rip move. Yeah. They'll go for like a hand slap too as an animation. But I believe obviously the spin move is. But I think the swim move is also considered the finesse move. So it's like your guy could have 90-something finesse moves, which he does. But does he also utilize them? And specifically, if you're not a user, if it's just the computer pass rushing, do they try to fire off those moves? Right? That's important. So when you're scouting players in Madden 25, I know this is Madden 12, when you're scouting players, it's like, do they even utilize the move? And if not, when you're progressing the player, you're going to teach them like with the player progression using your experience points to progress the player. So these player traits, to me, it's like so important. That's why I'm spending all this time. Like, we're almost at 45 minutes here, people. And it's like we're not even playing the game. Because to me, this is foundational to talking Madden 12 and Madden 25. Foundational, okay, is that you can have two players with the same ratings, but their consistency is going to make them potentially play different. If one is more consistent than the other, they're going to get the ratings boost or negatives. But their traits are also going to make a difference. If you got a guy who doesn't utilize the moves versus one who does, they're going to play different. So you can have multiple variations of players with the exact same ratings and still feel different, let alone how different the different players feel, right? So you got this yes here. We go back 49ers, we go Justin Smith utilizes the bull rush, right? He doesn't try to utilize these finesse moves so much. And to me, that's the other thing. It's like telling the game. It's the game being told by the player traits what to try to fire off. Because in prior Maddens, like 11, 10, all of that, like you would have these guys that are like really strong and they're just trying to like spin around, right? We have Chris Jenkins, who was with the Jets and previously with the Panthers. And it's like, that's a power move guy. And I don't know if it's one of our videos we were playing a previous game where Chris Jenkins was like spinning around, like spinning on the top. Like, what are you doing spinning around? You're Chris Jenkins. Go bull rush him. Okay, what are you doing? So you want AI control Justin Smith to be bull rushing people. Okay? And very similar here. It's like Ray McDonald, it says he doesn't use the bull rush. Okay? His power moves are pretty darn good. Right? 89. But it's like he doesn't even try to utilize it. You're going to have to control him as a user. Or if you're just straight up simming, it's like, yeah, he doesn't take advantage of the opportunity, right? And then we got here Alden Smith. It's like big hitter, yes, utilizes the swim move and utilizes the bull rush. And remember, he has both power and finesse moves. Now, his finesse moves are not the best, but it's like he'll use those. He'll throw the swim at you, he'll throw the bull rush at you. Like, he'll throw them both at you. But he's not consistent, all of that. And then linebackers, how do they play the ball in the air? Corners, how do they play the ball in the air, right? So we can look at that. How do they play the ball in the air, right? We looked at NCAA 10, and we talked about conservative, aggressive, and balanced. That's what it is. I mentioned in that video, if you didn't go watch it, please. But we talk about that, but instead of being what you tell the team to do, that's what the individual does. Are they a big hitter? All that. But they don't have any player traits for like man coverage press. Like, does he hold? Does he stay physical, right? But susceptible to holding, right? Legal downfield, pass interference, whatever. Like, there's nothing like that, right? So, and how they play the ball in there, he goes for swats more than he goes for picks, right? That's what they're trying to say. So, that's so important to me, talking about the ratings, okay? I hope you've been listening. I hope you've been watching, maybe on 2 times speed, whatever it is, because now we got to get to the next part. We got to talk franchise mode, okay? Game modes, franchise mode, load franchise mode. And I was doing a Bills franchise for fun, okay? So this is way back in the day, 2019. I haven't even messed with it since then. You can see the save game. And now that it's loading up, we got to talk about some things. I'm going to go show a menu. I'm going to go to scouting. Now, I have something printed out. I got it from Operation Sports. I sent myself an email so I could copy and paste and make it printed out. But here's the thing. We've just spent all this time talking about ratings. And now we got to talk about scouting. Okay? So I'm going to click, all, whatever, don't matter. We've got to scout those ratings, okay? So let's go scout it. Let's go all. Let's go corners, okay? I only scout 2 corners. I'll tell you why in a minute, but I'm going to show you here. What ratings have been revealed and what ratings are question marks? And what happened? Their potential is hidden. Their overall is hidden. Their projected round is here. Their speed is hidden. I can see their strength. I can't see their speed, their agility, acceleration. I can't see their awareness. I can see all their ball carrier stuff, all their trucking, elusive ball carrier vision. Hey, that might be good for kick returners, maybe, whatever. Stiff arm, spin move, juke move, carry. Not how well they catch the ball, like for interceptions. Their route running. Their catching traffic and spectacular catch. I think this also has to do with catching interceptions if you're in traffic versus just out jumping the play, right? Spec catch, release, throwing power accuracy, short, medium, deep accuracy, throwing on the run play. Actually, we didn't even talk about those. I'm not going to bother right now. But important things like tackle, hit power. Does he like truck stick people? Pass rushing moves from a corner, not really an issue. Though if they do get picked up, how well do they use a move against whoever's picking them up? This is why they get locked up by linemen. Block shedding. Because remember, wide receivers can block them. How well do they shed the block? Pursuit, play recognition, man coverage, zone coverage, press, pass block, impact block, all that stuff, right? You see what's hiding, and you see what's shown. We get shown the useless ratings. We don't get shown the useful ratings, right? So, I know it's not going to be on the screen, but I'm going to read to you from this page. It says, here is a list of positions and attributes unlocked in each stage of the scouting process. Remember, Josh Lumen is the one who said that there's different stages of scouting. It said, notes, awareness is never scouted. Defensive ends and defensive tackles never have their power move, finesse move, or block shedding ratings revealed until individual workouts, which you only get 5 to 8 guys, something like that. So you don't get to see any of their block shedding, power, finesse moves for defensive line unless you do individual workouts, which again, you're limited to who you work out. So you can't just like start filtering that. You cannot learn a halfback's carry rating without an individual workout. You cannot scout a defensive back, meaning corners, safeties, their man coverage or zone coverage until individual workouts. You cannot learn a wide receiver's catch in traffic or route running ratings until individual workouts, which again, you're extremely limited on who you can work out. In the first stage of regular season scouting, you can do like the halfbacks get their spin move and stiff arm, juke move, catch in traffic, all that. Offensive line, they get pass strength, pass blocking, run blocking, and impact blocking. PRS, press. PRS is press. Why do they get press like for wide receivers and corners? I don't know. It says pass block, run block, and impact blocking. I don't know what PRS is. That should be press for corners, which I don't know why that player appears, but it's probably true. Defensive backs, you get their strength, their catch in traffic, their spectacular catch, their tackle, and their hit power. For strong safeties and free safeties only, you get their tackle and hit power. Because we saw we didn't get that for these guys here, right? So we didn't get tackle, we got hit power. Right? Second stage, combine scouting. Halfbacks will give you your speed, your strength, agility, acceleration, run blocking strength, run blocking footwork, pass blocking strength, pass blocking footwork. Yeah, for halfbacks, because we know that we want them to be run blockers and pass blockers as our halfback, right? And their injury rating. All other positions, speed, strength, agility, acceleration, jump, injury, for second stage of combine. It says only scout in the combine, finish scouting, the halfbacks, wide receivers, and linebackers. Oh, it says only scout in the regular season your offensive line. Scout with further scouting needed halfbacks and defensive backs. Do not scout quarterbacks, fullbacks, wide receivers, tight ends, defensive line, linebackers, kickers, or punters. Just don't. You're not going to get anything. The game doesn't tell you that. You have to figure that out. You have to know that. Okay? That's a problem. I got a cough real bad, excuse me. Okay. So sorry for that. The game ain't going to tell you that you're going to waste your time on scouting those other positions. It says if you need to scout in the second stage to gather information, you can go for tight ends and defensive backs, but do not scout quarterbacks, fullbacks, offensive line, punters, or kickers. In the third stage, the pro days, quarterbacks will give you throwing power, accuracy, short, medium accuracy, missing, deep accuracy, throw on the run. Play action was scouted in the first stage, but it's not worth wasting your time on because that's the only thing you're going to get for quarterbacks. So you can get play action, but don't waste your scouting reports on quarterbacks for that. Fullbacks, tight ends, and linebackers, you will get specific ratings like ball carrier, vision, release, run blocking, pass blocking, strength, and all of that. Linebackers, you'll get catch and traffic, power moves, finesse moves, block shedding. You'll get all that for linebackers, which are nice for 3-4 outside linebackers to rush the passer. You'll get the power moves, finesse moves, and block shedding for those linebackers. You get the man coverage and zone coverage abilities. That's nice. It says only scout in the pro days the quarterbacks and the fullbacks. Finish scouting tight ends and linebackers. Do not scout running backs, wide receivers, offensive line, defensive backs, kickers, or punters. And then in the fourth stage, the individual workout, it says scouting needed to receive accurate ratings. Wide receivers, defensive line, defensive back. Do not waste your time on quarterbacks, halfbacks, fullbacks, tight ends, offensive line, linebackers, kickers, or punters in the individual stages. Ooh. My goodness. Did you expect that? Is all that in this game? Look, I like Madden 12. I'm not going to sit here and rip on it. I enjoy Madden 12. Madden 12 is one of my favorites. Well, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it's some godsend make a super game. Best franchise ever. It's not. Scouting is a joke. Okay? Scouting is a joke. Like, in summary, Let's go to scouted. Unless you pick them for individual workouts, you're not going to get the ratings you want. Okay? You're not going to get the power moves, finesse moves, block shedding, all of that. Okay? You're not. They're not going to pop up. So how do you know which defensive lineman to target? Why have I only targeted one defensive end, two defensive ends, two defensive tackles, like 4 guys? Why have I done that? Right? Why don't I have these linebackers targeted? I'll tell you why. Again, this is for fun. This isn't for simulation. So I'm not making a video of this franchise. There's a thing here of all players by potential. You see, it's sorted by round. The game predicts that Taven Washington is going to be the number 1 pick. That Seal is going to be number 2. Say, and all these guys. These are going to be like the prediction of the order of the picks. Now, who the user picks, the needs of the individual computer team, it's not exact. Nor is any mock draft board exact either in real life. If a team that's picking first already has their wide receivers, they're probably not going to get him. Right? And they need a quarterback, they might go here or whatever. But that's why it's like a board, a prediction, which I think was done really well by Josh Lumen. But there's something here called potential. And if we sort by potential descending, and we press sort again, ascending, now we have the highest rated players, or like the highest potential rated players in the game. These are the future stars. These are the A potentials. And it doesn't tell you exactly where the cutoff is. Like, where do they go from A to B to C or whatever like that. But it's in order. Okay? And you can see for a good reason, like there's a potential guy who's going to be in the 5th round, a 4th round, a 3rd round, a 6th round, a 4th round, some 1st rounders, some 3rd, some 5th, some 4th, some 2nd, some 5th, some 1st, some 7th. Like you're going to get those different high potential players. So you go by all the ones that I scouted, okay? And you're going to see all I got to do is sort by that and pick like the top players for each thing, right? So it's like pick the top 15 or whatever that are not kickers or punters because you don't care. And it's just like, these are going to be your highest potential players. These are going to be your draft steals. These are going to be your whatevers, right? So if I go to all, it's like, look at that. Carrington, Powers, Kennedy, all of that. Carrington, Powers, Kennedy, all of that. Like, that's all you got to do. Like, you don't have to do it. You can house rule and say, look, I'm not going to use that feature, Paul. We're not going to sort by ascending or descending. Yeah, ascending. With the arrow pointing up. I won't do it. I'm just going to scout like normal. Here's the thing. Why? Like, who even cares at some point? Like, seriously. You're not going to get the ratings you're looking for. Right? Scout all the defensive linemen that you want. They're not going to show you pass block and run block and finesse move and block shedding and all that stuff. Like, they're not. So it's just like, tag the dudes that are like in the top bracket and maybe save them for individual workouts. Well, that's like 4 guys. I think you get around 8-ish like personal like reviews, like individual workouts. Like, how many corners are you going to work out? Right? So it's like, I look at it, and it's like, okay, a 4th round, a 6th round. Like, I'm going to go invite these guys. Do I even care about inviting a 6th round guy? I can just draft him in the 5th round, and then see how he pans out or whatever, right? So it's like, maybe if a guy is like a higher end pick, like Kennedy here, right? Rosier or whatever, like maybe like him, like why would I even like scout him? Why would I bring him for an individual workout? I already know he's a high potential player, and I can just take a like stab at him like later in the 5th round or in the 6th round. I'm gonna try to take him around earlier or whatever. I can reach for him, right? But it's like, okay, you want to discern which your 1st round and your 2nd round top picks guys are. Okay, I'll bring in Kennedy and I'll bring in DeMar Rozier, whatever. Like, I'll bring in a few guys. I don't even think I'll bring in these guys or whatever, right? Just because I know their potential. They're supposed to be these high potential guys. Maybe I'll bring in, Darius, Aquia, whatever. I might bring in Lamel Tate to see where my first and second round picks go for individual workouts, because you gotta limit what they are, right? Chioke Lockett, whatever. But what are you scouting for? Truly, what is your filter for scouting these guys, right? If we go to all, aside from all of the other filters that I read to you from the paper, do not scout this, do not scout that, do not waste time with this, whatever. What filters are you going to use to scout your players? What are you going to use as a judgment for drafting your players? Because all the important ratings, the most important, the position-specific ratings, the route running, the catch in traffic, the run blocking for a wide receiver, whatever, it's most of it's hidden until the pro days of individual workouts. And everything else is hidden anyway. So what is the point? Right? I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but in franchise mode, that's what gets me down. So there's a really nice thing here when you get to draft day, is that you can trade future draft picks. Okay? Off-season menu, yeah, apparently it doesn't show me just go to the draft or whatever. But you can trade future draft picks. So let me go to menu. Let me go to trade players. Let me go trade away. Let me go draft picks. And yeah, I got a bunch of draft picks. You can see 2019, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm in 2018. And because I'm multiple years into this franchise, I've been doing it for fun. I've been messing around, not taking it serious and super sim-like. I have 20 draft picks here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. I've got the max 20 draft picks. Okay? All of these came from the previous year trading for future draft picks. Okay? Making moves and piling it up. And a big purpose of this is to package picks. See, there's a whole draft value trade chart, and it's a future draft pick is worth half of the middle of the round of that pick. So, for example, it says first round. So, another team's first round draft pick is worth half of the mid-round value. According to the Rich Hill draft value chart that I have in front of me, the number one pick is worth 1,000 points. But the 15th/16th pick are worth about 315 to 305 points. So let's say 300, right? It's not exactly, there's a little bit of twist. But basically, my first round pick, the first round pick of the Panthers, the first round pick of the Raiders, whatever, is worth a little more than 150 points for the future pick. Because it has half of the mid-round value. That's just how it is, according to many real-life trades. That's what it typically is. And a current year's pick is worth approximately one round higher in next year. So this is almost a first round. So it's very easy to trade the number 4 pick in the second round for a future first. Really easy. Whereas this is the bottom of the second, it's almost a third. So you're more likely to be able to flip this for a future second. Okay? It's functionally a third round pick. It's the first and the third round. It's the pre-first pick in the third round, right? It's the bottom there. So you can flip this for a future second. But considering it's at the bottom of the second, and you can flip it for a future second, means you're going up 15 or more slots probably. And if you trade it with a bad team, a mediocre team, a team who's maybe like the 4th or the 8th pick or whatever, and you're like, hey, give me next year's second, and you can pick now and in a few picks from now, right? And that's something that real life teams do. Like, I'm giving up this selection for a future pick, but probably with higher value, right? And then you get a couple players in a row, boom, boom, like a couple guys of good value, but you're not going to take in the second round next year, right? So one of the things that's a lot of fun is you can get like 6th and 7th round, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. Yeah, 4th through 7th round picks as like throw-ins and deals, right? Like, oh, I'll trade you this player away. Usually you don't even trade players, it's trading picks. It's like, I'm going to trade down, let's say, like, I got the 32nd pick. My team won the Super Bowl. This is all simulation. And I'm like, look, I don't even want to take in the first round here. What I'm going to do, let's just say we have our normal picks. I'm saying I'm going to trade this. I'm going to treat it like the bottom of a second. I'm going to say, give me your future first. Give me your current second round pick. Let me look at a chart here. Let me even do the math for you right now. I'll punch it up. Calculator. Let's do this thing. Okay? Let's say we got the 32nd pick. The Rich Hill draft chart says 184.3 points. So 184.3. Okay? So I want a future first. Okay? I want a future first. So we're going to say at least 165 points. Okay? That only gives us 19 points to work with. So what's worth 19 points? 1, 2, 3, the 4th round. So if I say to another team, give me next year's first for this first, and also give me like the bottom of like the 31st or whatever, give me the top of the 5th round, the bottom of the 4th round, for a pick. Let's do that. Let's look at that. Let's say draft picks there, trade for draft picks. They're at 4. Okay. So give me, who is picking near the bottom? I don't even know who we beat in the Super Bowl. Who's picking? There you go. Seahawks. Give me next year's first. Okay. And give me this year's first, second, third, 4th round. Give me this year's 4th. Their interest stays the same. Give me this year's 6th round. You see? So I'm like, look, I'm dropping way out. But I'm going to have like next year's pick. Now, they might be a finalist, and this might be a bad trade for me. Okay? But that's a thing that you can do. Now, what's more likely to happen? Let's go to trade players. Let's go trade away. What's more likely to happen is we want to trade down. Okay? So we got the 32nd pick. So again, worth 184.3 points. So 184.3. Now, what do we want? Let's say that's the bottom of the second. That's the bottom of the first. Sorry, the top of the second. Let's say we want to go down to like the 10th pick in the second round. Okay, so that is pick 42 overall, but the 10th pick in the second round. So let's go. Let's find who that is. Even go 11. We say top 10. Yeah, let's say top 10. We don't want to go 4, 3, 13. Texans. You know what? Texans. You got it. 13th pick. Okay. We're going down from 32. We're going down 13, 14 spots. Okay? So what's the value there? The 13th pick. They go 13th. It says 131.10. 131.10. Okay? That means I got 53.2 points to work with. Okay? So what is a mid-round future pick that's worth around 100 points? Second round in the future second. Can I get a future second for you? I don't know if I can. Interest is there. Because a second round midpoint is about 100 something, so about half that's 53. So you're going to give me, you're going to go up 14 picks. You're going to go up. So we're going to swap those picks. And in exchange for you moving up, you're going to give me your future second. And the thing is, the game can still be willing to throw in like a 6 or a 7. And let's try to get a 6 out of it, right? So that's part of the point here. Okay, I'm pretty much turning what's the equivalent of a second into still being a second and also getting a future second. Oh yeah, and also a 6. And I'm going to get this pile of picks here, right? Now I'm not going to make the trade because I'm already like at 20 picks. But the game is like, yeah, no, I'm down with that. That's like an even trade. That's like even value. In fact, it's even like a little bit more. Like they're giving up a little bit more to go up, right? So like, hey, you know, I got to give up something to move up. And they just want it that bad, right? Because it says that they'd accept that. At least in terms of interest, it says they'd accept that. And it's part of the value. It's like it's fair value. But you can start doing crazy things with it. So what happens here is like you end up with these like a 6th round pick or whatever right here. I can potentially go find a 5th rounder for that. Right? A future 5th. So let's go with a team. All picks. Okay, Vikings. I've got a 6th. Give me a 5th. Right? So put me up an entire round higher for a future, though. Right? This year's 6th for a future 5. If you want to execute this trade, we don't need to keep it. But we just went up a round. Right? So when we got a 6th in a deal, we'll say, look, I don't want to take a 6 right now. Instead of taking in a 6 right now, give me a future 5, a higher value. Even if it's mid-round, even if it's bottom, it's still better than where I was going to pick, right? So now I'm like, okay, here's the bottom of the 5. This is almost a 6th. Like, I may not be able to trade this for a future 4. That's a little low, right? If I go draft picks and I say here, I say give me a future 4, they may say no. Oh, it's Vikings again. No, I'm not gonna keep like taking them like the same picks. Is that like the Bears? I have an end of a 5th. Give me a future 4. And they're like, yeah. A current 5 for next year's 4? That's a thing. You say it's broken or whatever, but it's like that's how also real life trades work. Now that's a bit low for a bit high, but you don't know where they're going to finish, right? So they consider it the middle of the mid round value, half of the mid round value, versus this value. And so you're like, that's how you do it. You flip your 5th, but you got some throwing of a trade, and you're like, my 6 is now a 5, my 5 is now a 4, right? I take my 4, I turn it into a 3, right? I don't know if I can turn that one into a 3, but if I can take San Diego's 4, current year 4, and I'm like, hey, who's got a decent, like who's kind of a bad team? The Cardinals. Give me a 3. Give me a 3 and like a 6. I don't know. Give me a future 3 and you're like your current 6. Right? Like you can do that. You see that? And it's like, now I got Arizona 6. Which is like almost a 5. Right? Can I go get like the Chargers 4 because it's almost a 5? They're not interested. You might be able to find someone that'll do it. But you're trade for the Chargers 5. And they're like, yeah. So I just took Like that deal, like, here's my current 6 from Arizona. Would you give me a future 5? Right? And just flipping and flipping and flipping. And like you start gaining like, oh, +2, +3 picks in one trade. And then you're like, I'll take those positives. And I have the patience to like, that was a 4. Now it's a 3. Right? I'm going to take this 3. I'm going to say, hey, Falcons, you want to give me a 2? You want to give me a 2 and your current 4? Okay, not interested in the 4. How about 2 and your 6? Sure. Right? And now I'm like, hey, that Atlanta 6? That Atlanta 6, how about we go talk to someone and get their 5, huh? Hey, Bears, you want to give me next year's 5 for the 6? Right? Like, you get the hang of this, right? And it's just like, okay, how we doing? It's like, now I got all these, like, future 5s. Like, all these 5s. 1, 2, 3, and my own. Right? Like, you're just, like, flipping and you're getting value. And it's like, suddenly you start looking at, like, the current values. It's like, I got a pack of 3s. Right? So what's the value of my pack of 3s? Right? I get KCs over here. I can turn that into a second. I can turn some of these into a second as well, right? But let's look at the bottom. Let's look at pick 22 in the 3rd round is worth 49 points. And then 21, right above that, is also worth, this one is worth 50 points. Now I can package a 3rd pick. And I can say 18. 18 is 53.6 points. Let's just say 54 points. That's 153 points. What's worth around 153 points? I start looking at the chart, and it says pick 7 in the 2nd round. Pick 7 in the 2nd round. Now, I can flip these for future seconds, but I can probably negotiate somewhere in 7, 8, like in the 2nd round. I can start getting like a top 2nd round pick. So that's like a little deal. And I can jump up, right? So it's like, you see a guy in the draft that you want, I kind of already have the 2nd. I'll be trading with myself. But you get the point. Like, you can package deals, and suddenly you're turning 6s into 5s, 5s into 4s, 4s into 3s. You're packaging deals to go up. You have the patience, like a 5-year plan, a 6-year plan, or whatever your plan, and you're just like, give me some picks next year. Let's start packaging them together. Let's start flipping these for a 4 or whatever. Like, you get 3 picks, and I get your 4 or whatever. Like, let's move up a round. Let's move up 2 rounds or whatever, right? Like, let's put this together, and let's go get something. Let's go package a deal together, and let's just turn out positive value. And suddenly, you know, you have multiple 2nds and 3rds or whatever from previous deals that are all packaged together. Now, we're not going to save any of that. But I think you get the idea. As you can start just like scouting and trading, and you can flip, and it can be fun. And you want to do a house rule? Don't sort by potential. You want to do a house rule? Make it so you're always paying whatever, like 125%. You know, find out the value and then do 25% extra, 150% extra, whatever. Don't make it an even trade, right? Kick over, like, don't make it the most valuable rip-off trade. Give the computer a break. Because you can see I had 20 draft picks across the board. Like, that's when going extreme. And that was part of the point, to go extreme, to have some fun. So don't go as extreme. Keep it more realistic. Reel it in. 150% value, 175%, 200%, I don't know, whatever. Set a value that doesn't seem like ridiculous to you. But and throw them a bone. But you can do it like that. The game lets you do it like that. The game lets you have even trades. And then the AI is like, hey, it's even, we're fine. Okay? So that's Madden 12. And like none of it has to do with like the gameplay itself, right? Like what do I have to say about the gameplay that hasn't already been said how many times? Like it's smooth. It's crisp. You've got custom playbooks. It's fun. I wanted to dig into the weeds of Madden 12 because I want to do this again with you for Madden 25. All right? We're like almost an hour and a half here. So if you watched all this, you know what's up. And we got Madden 25 coming up next. See you around.